What up? So we talking about the first part of setting up your business, whether it's online, in person, brick and mortar, or whatever. Right now, nowadays, people are telling you to just go ahead and all you need is some Wi-Fi and a laptop, and you got you a business. And while that sounds amazing, the problem with that is you miss a lot of key steps. So I want to talk about those key steps today and what the bare minimum that you need to go ahead and get started, right? So the first thing you need is an EIN number. I'm gonna pop it up there over there on the screen. You need an EIN number, okay? The EIN number is the number that identifies you by the Uncle Sam, the IRS, tax mode, right? So that they can document your earnings. And while it sounds cool to not have one, you can go ahead and fly under the radar, that eliminates you from being able to write off very cool things like business expenses so that you don't have to pay taxes on those to begin with. And I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you what happens in the light comes the dark. Hey, we hustlers, but we ain't street pharmacists, you dig? We can go ahead and put our shit on paper. So that's the first thing. You need that EIN number. I do suggest you go ahead and get a business license as well. Personally, I run an S Corp, but that's because I have many entities underneath that umbrella. You can actually do this with a sole proprietorship, or you can do it with an LLC. Sole proprietorship is cool, but I do want to go ahead and give you some of the pros and cons of that. Sole proprietorship is the easiest thing to do, right? You actually don't even need an EIN number for that. You can do it under your social security number. However, again, it makes life much easier when you're trying to separate your expenses from your personal life, right? When you're trying to do your taxes and trying to get write-offs and things like that. The other thing is, at some point, you might need business credit. So there might be a time where you got to pay payroll, or your MacBook breaks down, or your car breaks down, or somebody defaults on invoices and you need a little extra cash. That's where business credit comes in. And when you apply for your business credit, you want your business credit to be separate from your social security number. You want to be separate from your personal credit. You want your business to have its own credit. Now, that's something that I did not find out about until I had been in the game for quite some time, and I had already screwed up my own personal credit. My credit was terrible because I was paying for my entire business out of my pocket, but we'll talk more about that later. Now, by you having that EIN number, you having an LLC, what that does is it allows you to not be liable for if something were to go wrong, or you need to, ditch the business for any reason, right? You want that separate. Your business has a life of its own, and if you can remember that, if you start out that way, you're starting out on a good foot, okay? So that's the first thing. Again, I just want you guys to know that I am not a CPA, I'm not a tax consultant, I ain't none of this, nothing with no letters behind my name. So you probably, if you want to get further clarification on this, you can get a CPA, a tax consultant, a lawyer, or whatever, but these are just the basics, okay? You can learn about this pretty much anywhere on the internet. The second thing is you're going to need a bank account. You need a bank account that's separate. And that's where that EIN number comes in. Use that EIN number to set up your business bank account, all right? So I can put a list of some of my favorite business bank accounts in the comments, or I'm sorry, in the description of this video. But I personally started with the internet bank, right? And that's what I used for my business, just because I'm lazy and I didn't want to go into the bank. But you can use any bank. You can use your personal bank and get a business account with them. I do suggest that you get the business account in a separate bank than your personal account. Is just because sometimes they try to bully you into using your social security number, but you do not have to give them that. That's what the EIN number is. That is the social security number of your business, your EIN number. All right. Now, if you're going to do an LLC or S Corp or however, that's going to depend on some other things. That's a little too deep for right now. You can just get an LLC, and you can always upgrade at a later date. All right. The other thing that you're going to need is some accounting software. Okay. I made the mistake of not having accounting software, and I was trying to remember everything in my head. Actually, I made a lot of fucking mistakes. I didn't start out with an EIN number. I didn't start out with a separate bank account, so all my money got all mingled up and mixed up, and I couldn't tell how much I was making. And I didn't have accounting software, so I had no idea how much money I was spending versus how much money was coming in. So it seemed like I was making a whole lot of money, right? I made, in 2017, I made my first over $50,000 in business, right? Which it was like, that was bomb as shit to me. And I don't know how much I really made because I really couldn't tell you, because I had all these business expenses that was mixed up with my regular expenses, right? So I couldn't tell if the lunch that I had at Panera was for me, or was it from when I took a client out, you know what I mean? Because it was all in the same account. So you want to make sure you keep this stuff separate, because you can actually write off things like that, okay? You can write off mileage, you can write off supplies, but you can write off subscriptions, courses, Anything you pay for your business, you can write it off. But if it's all mixed up, it's really hard to prove all that. At the end of the year, your CPA is not gonna be very happy with you. Okay. Now I personally like FreshBooks. But there are all kinds of other ones. You know, there's like QuickBooks, and there's this other. I'm actually have to drop the link of the other place that I'm actually thinking about migrating to, because they keep up with your books. One thing that a lot of people don't know is that as a business owner, you pay taxes quarterly. You don't pay them every year. You pay them every 3 months. So that's another thing that I fucked up on, right? So you're gonna pay taxes every 3 months, and if your accounting software is set up right, then you don't have to figure out, okay, how much do I have to pay at the end of the quarter? You know what I mean? Like, it's all good, because your accounting software will set that up for you. You'll be able to see how much you made versus how much you poured in. The other thing the accounting software would do, at least what mine does with FreshBooks, is it tells me when a client is overdoing their invoice too. That's another thing, right? So you're not really chasing down clients. You can have it set up where an automatic email goes out to the client saying, hey, you know, you defaulted on your subscription or your invoice or whatever, right? So that's another thing that kind of keeps you worry-free. The other thing that you want to have is a good CRM system, a good customer management system. And although that might fall a little bit more into customer service, but something really basic that you want to have is how to follow up with your clients and your customers. Because if you're always trying to get new, and you're not nurturing the ones that you already have, you're not going to have that money flow through, and you're not going to be able to maximize on the full life of the client or the customer. So that's something that's really important. I think if when I got started, those are the main things you really need, right? You need the EIN, you need your bank account so you keep the money separate, and you need some accounting software and some customer software so you can keep up with those things, because without the customers, you don't have much of a business, right? You ain't got the money coming in. So before you get started on any of the other shit, I say you get those things in hand in hand. And this stuff is not expensive. An EIN number is free. You don't have to pay any of those companies that say that they cost, you know, $300-400 to get you set up and all that. Fuck all that. It don't cost that. EIN number is free. You can do it online. Popular to the contrary belief, you can actually have more than one EIN number. So if you've had one in the past for another business, you can get a fresh EIN number. FreshBooks cost me about $15 a month. And to incorporate my S Corp, it cost me $87 a month. Or no, it cost me $87 up front, and then I had to pay an initial $50 for my doing business as, right? Because my business is one name, but I do business as Famous Enough, right? So Famous Enough is what I do business as, and so I had to pay for that name. So that cost me what? EIN number free, 87 plus 50, I'm gonna say 140, and then $15 for my FreshBooks. That's $155 for the first month to get started. My CRM, I used HubSpot. That was actually free. So boom. There it is. Those are the basic things you need to start any business and make money and collect it the legal way. Boom, there it is. Next video, we're going to talk about, actually, we're just going to keep building on this. So let's just let the playlist roll. Let the fun begin.